Welcome to Intellify. Today we'll be learning how chemotherapy works. World War I में एक बहुत ही पॉइजनस येलो मस्टर्ड गैस यूज की गई थी एक वॉर वेपन की तरह. जो भी लोग इस गैस से एक्सपोज होते थे, it was almost impossible for them to breathe and it made their eyes burn. It caused huge blisters on the exposed skin of the soldiers and everybody else out there. इसका antidote बनाते बनाते scientists discovered that this gas was damaging the bone marrow. Despite these awful effects, it gave scientists an idea. Cancer cells share a characteristic with bone marrow and they both replicate rapidly. So could one of the atrocities of war become a champion in the fight against cancer? Researchers in 1930s investigated by injecting compounds derived from mustard gas into the veins of the cancer patients. By the end of World War II, they discovered what became known as the first chemotherapy drugs. Chemotherapy drugs are delivered through pills and injections and use cytotoxic agents, which means compounds that are toxic to the living cells. Essentially, these medicines cause some level of harm to all the cells in the body, even the healthy ones. But precisely, ये target करते हैं cancer cells को, जो कि होते हैं rapidly dividing cells. The first used chemotherapy drugs that are still used today are called alkylating agents. They're injected into the bloodstream which delivers them to the cells all over the body. Once inside, when the cell exposes its DNA in order to copy it, they damage the building blocks of the DNA, which can lead to cell death unless the damage is repaired. क्योंकि cancer cells rapidly divide होते हैं, वो suck करते हैं high concentration of these alkylating agents. And their DNA is frequently exposed and rarely repaired, so they die off more often than most other cells. Another form of chemotherapy involves compounds known as microtubule stabilizers. Cancer cells have small tubes that assemble to help with cell division and DNA replication, and then वो टूट जाते हैं and they regenerate themselves. When microtubule stabilizers get inside a cell, they keep those tiny tubes from disassembling. That prevents the cell from completing its replication, leading to its death. There are total 6 classes of chemotherapy drugs, namely plant alkaloids, anti-tumor antibiotics, anti-metabolites, topoisomerase inhibitors, etc. Everything has pros and cons to it. Despite its huge benefits, chemotherapy has one big disadvantage. It affects other healthy cells in the body that naturally have to renew rapidly, and these drugs obstruct this process. Hair follicles, the cells of the mouth, the gastrointestinal lining, the reproductive system, and bone marrow are damaged nearly as hard as cancer. Over 17 million are diagnosed with cancer every year, but chemotherapy has changed the outlook for many patients. 95% of individuals with testicular cancer have survived thanks to the advances in treatment of chemotherapy. Even in people with acute myeloid leukemia, that is an aggressive blood cancer, chemotherapy puts an estimated 60% of patients under 60 into remission following their first phase of treatment. Researchers still precise interventions develop कर रहे हैं, जिनसे specifically सिर्फ intended cancer cells ही target होंगे, making one of the best tools we have in the fight against cancer even better. Thank you.